just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to an episode of The Yarn and some big announcements. Firstly, Magic Round Meetup. It's the same place every year from 11 till 1. We'll be in the Caxton car park. And this year, it'll be a live show. And also, Roasty will be joining us. I'm pretty sure Roasty is going to be doing his Hottest 100 in the Caxton car park with us, a live show. Myself, Guru, Tommy Bomb will be there. Maybe Tyson will be there. Hopefully get some other boys here. It's going to be a great weekend, guys, the yearly meetup. And if Timmy's there, we'll get Timmy down there as well. So make sure to be there from 11 till 1, a live show. And NRL Roast will be there doing his Hot 100. And also, do not forget Bloke jerseys on Monday, 6 p.m. Let's go big this time. If you want to support the platform, let's go big. Grab a Bloke jersey. Let's sell out as many as we can and wear them all to Magic Round to really dominate Magic Round, guys. It's always a big weekend with all the Bloke jerseys. So next Monday, 6 p.m., it's a really good way to support the platform. It directly supports the platform. And they'll be $99 as well. So like jerseys these days are getting up at like $170. We're keeping them at $99 for the Bloke community. So support the platform, guys. I hope you're enjoying all the content we've been releasing this year. But let's get straight into it, shall we? Huge news. Tyson, mate, how you going, brother? It's a bit of a funeral procession for you at the moment?
I wouldn't call it a funeral. It's been a rough couple of days if you're a Tigers fan. But I've had to put, obviously, my feelings to the side because I have to work. So I spent a few days at Concord Oval and, yeah, obviously the massive story of the week. We touched on it on Monday, but it's just grown since then. Jarome Luai, the first official signing to the Papua New Guinea Chiefs, which is a huge coup for them.
Just before we get into it, we just got to introduce Blake.
Oh, Blake.
Sorry,
you said to get straight into it, so I was ready.
Blakey's here too, just so he doesn't jump out of nowhere and scare the... How you going, Blake?
Gentlemen, great to be here. Thanks for having me again.
I didn't want people to tune out, mate. They're all here for Blake, so I just wanted to get him in here. But anyway, sorry, mate, can continue.
No, and I'm very happy Blake's back as well. So, good. Yes, that is the good news of the day. But for West Tigers fans, obviously a bit bittersweet. So Jarome Luai will leave the club at the end of 2027. So next year, he's got the rest of this year, all of next year, and he's the first official signing for the Papua New Guinea Chiefs, which, is huge. We've seen how long Perth have been in the market for a marquee player. They come in next year. Their first trial game will be in February next year. Papua New Guinea is still 2 years away, and they've not only landed a huge signing, but one of the biggest signings you could land, not only for an on-field perspective, but an off-field perspective as well.
Mate, it's crazy news. It's come out of absolutely nowhere. And also, obviously, the Alex Johnston signing as well. I mean, you could argue that's two bigger profile signings than Perth already. I just want to know, like, before we get into the details, where did this come from? How quickly did it come together? Did the Tigers know about it? And walk us through the actual hard and fast details of the Luai contract and how it's all set up.
Yeah, well, I guess to start from the beginning, when Jarome Luai signed with the Tigers, it was a 5-year deal. 2 of those years guaranteed. And then every year after that, he had a player option to where he could either take up to stay or go. There was no arguing that Jarome Luai was going to leave the Tigers for next year. He was always going to take up that option, which had to be decided by tomorrow, but he's obviously
so they
already
were
decided.
Already aware he was going to take up that option.
So yeah, the talk was he was going to take up that option, which locked him in for all of next year, and then at April 30 next year, there would have been the second option to go for the year after. But with what's happened, we don't obviously get to that now. So that was always in play. The last couple of weeks, Papua New Guinea have come out and gone, you know what? This guy, we're available to talk to him. A lot of the other big name signings, they can't talk to at the moment. They have to wait until November 1. But you wait until November 1, you're competing with a bigger pool of people. There's more time for, I guess, players to change their mind. They might not be as optimistic to go. So they went, we need to get Jarome Luai, which put all the wheels in place. So over the weekend, I believe it was Saturday and Sunday, Jarome spent over in Papua New Guinea after they played on Thursday night. There were talks going on before that, but like I said, this all happened. How long? This all happened within the last couple of weeks. Wow. So Jarome said today when I spoke to Jarome that it all happened really quickly. Jerome's gone to the Tigers and said, hey, I'd like this opportunity to explore the option. He didn't say, look, I want to leave, but he said, I'd like to explore the option. The Tigers understood the magnitude of this. It's 1.2 million to 1.3 million. The price range is in between there of tax-free Australian dollars, right? So to put in perspective, he's on 1.2 million. He'd walk away with $700,000. He goes 1.2 million there. He walks away with $1.2 million in his pocket at the end of the year. So he went over to explore that. But the trip over there, I think this is where a lot of people get confused. Jarome's mind was more towards going before he got on that plane. That plane trip with his wife and his son was to say, hey, this is where we could be living. What do you guys think? And his son apparently loved it more than any of them. So they went over, did the trip. He gets back to Sydney on Monday night with a private jet flight back to Sydney. And that's when I thought, my club's lost their star playmaker. Monday morning gets to training. Now the Tigers train behind closed doors on Monday.
So hang on a sec. So he flew international on a private jet.
Yeah, it's a private jet from Papua New Guinea to
Did you know that,
Sydney.
Blake?
That's the part for me that's most exciting. When this is the first time we've ever seen an NRL player land back on the tarmac. He rears his head out of a private jet. There's a black SUV waiting on the tarmac for him. For me, I'm just so excited about the levels of stardom that our athletes are now starting to get to. I thought that was so cool to watch. It's something obviously we've become known with Premier League football and the NFL, but if anyone, if there was a player that was going to rear their head out of a private jet with a gold chain around his neck, Jarome Luai would be the one, and it made me so happy to see that.
Oh, was there footage of it? I haven't seen.
Yeah,
there
was footage.
Wow.
So yeah, there was a 9 was there. I think 7 had a camera there. Code Sports had a reporter there as well. It was not me. I was not at the airport on Monday night. But
fire it. Okay, so he gets back Monday night.
Yeah, gets back Monday night. Gets to training at about 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. The Tigers do all their training behind closed doors, and there was a lot of media there to watch. But apparently, according to the Tigers, training was always going to be behind closed doors on Tuesday.
Of course.
And then has the conversation yesterday afternoon. He says he talks to his teammates. He talks to Benji. And Benji gave some good insight into the conversation. Apparently, Jarome was pretty broken down by this. It was a very emotional conversation because obviously how much he's poured into the club, and said, look, this opportunity is bigger than anything I can do, bigger than football, itself. And he tells the Tigers that he's gone. We report that last night. As soon as it happens, this morning, Jarome Luai and Benji Marshall talk to us. Jarome says, says everyone wants to say it's about the tax-free money, but it's not that. Like, I'm sure that plays a part in it. He even admitted,
play a part.
Yeah, he admitted that that's, I guess, an enticing part of it. But he said it's bigger than a game over there, and when the time comes, we'll be able to change a lot of lives for the better. And then he related it back to his Samoan roots, saying, being Polynesian, there's a lot of similarities to Samoa. What the team's going to do is grow a nation. That's something that has resonated with me. Now, I've been very fortunate my entire career to have a good relationship with Jarome. He's a player that's always given me the time of day. Anytime I've needed to chat, he has said yes. And our most recent chat was a week ago, to be fair, apart from this morning. And I know a lot of people will just think Jarome's just saying this, like, oh, it's not about the money. But when you actually get to know Jarome and you know what his goals and ambitions are, the challenge of starting this new club and building it up from the bottom up, that would definitely appeal to Jarome.
Well, he literally went to a 3 wooden spoons in a row club. So, like, there's evidence of him going to a club that needs to be rebuilt before. Man, just crazy. I guess in regards to the signing, I just think it's such a shrewd signing when you consider, he really is the biggest star off contract. He's really one of the only rare stars you can look at and say there is pretty hard and fast evidence that he can bounce a club off the bottom of the ladder. You've also got, I actually do think it is quite important that the marquee signing can have some kind of connection to the people. And what I mean by that is that, like, what he spoke about, the Polynesian similarities, obviously they're different people, but just that similarities in smaller nations and how much footy means to it, and him obviously being part of Samoa to the World Cup. Like, that was a worldwide phenomenon when they made that World Cup. And so I think that is a deeper kind of connection that, let's say you've just got a normal kid from the suburbs that hasn't really experienced what it's like to be from a smaller nation. Maybe it would be harder to connect. So I actually do like that part of the signing as well. Mate, it's just incredible. It's such a good get, and I just think it's so smart to get the ball rolling because, unfortunately, Perth are just getting absolutely swallowed up by this news, and it's only going to get worse, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'd love to hear Blake's opinion on this being part of, a couple of NRL teams, but just everything that's going on at Perth at the moment to not have that star player yet, and then to have all this stuff kind of going on with their board, with Mal Meninga's right-hand man.
Yeah.
A lot of questions around their CEO.
So that's my bad. I got us into Perth when I shouldn't have. Blake, thoughts on Jarome Luai being the first signing?
Absolutely love it. Obviously, shockwaves through the Tigers organisation. If you wanted any solace that things are going to be okay there, go and watch Benji's press conference today. That is leadership personified. It felt a little bit like a eulogy in some stages. I think his message was, let's rejoice that it's happened. Let's not be sad that it's over, and we're going to get him for another 18 months. So he'll be able to leave a real stamp on this organisation, and he already has up until this point. As far as Jarome to PNG, I think you're right, boys. It's absolutely perfect. It's a match made in heaven. What they've done for Samoa, inspiring that nation, but he's also breathed a lot of life back into the Western Sydney and the Mount Druitt area in particular. Now, we've always had athletes from Western Sydney and Mount Druitt. I was one of them many years ago, but there's a core group of players that have had a real, they've had a real ability to galvanise Western Sydney based on them just being true to who they are. So I sort of called it the other day that I know how Jarome's mind works, and the opportunity for his kids to watch him be a part of something that's bigger than him, I think would have been too great. The tax-free dollars are there, and we know they are. But all in all, I think it's a win all around. The game has obviously invested a lot into the PNG franchise and needs it to work. They've now got an absolute, probably, and you could argue one of the biggest stars that we've got. And I say the biggest because he's not afraid to come out and say what he thinks when he thinks it. So, and then, a lot of similarities. But Benji Marshall at the helm of the Tigers, they're in a really strong position too. And I absolutely loved what I've seen from Benji this morning.
Now, it's weird because it happened to the Tigers. I feel like people are looking for drama because it's the Tigers. Like, they're looking for a crack in the armor, a chink in the armor. There's obviously some comparisons to some recent drama. I got to be honest, look, I understand it's rugby league. We love drama as long as it's not bad drama. But I'm actually struggling to see where the drama lies. Because I'm seeing some people react like there's drama, but I'm like, okay, so there's a guy, he had an option. He's taken up the third-year option. He's told his club he's not taking the year after that option and the year after that. So his club's got 18 months to fill that. So he's given them a lot of time.
And a lot of cash.
And a lot of cash freed up as well, yep. And also he was brought to the club to take him from the bottom of the table into the top 8. I think that's probably the goal. Was the goal with Luai?
Well, it depends. If you ask Jarome on the day, he'll say top 8 one day and he'll say a premiership the next.
Yeah, so. but I'm talking not Luai's goal. I'm talking the people that brought him to the club.
Luai was the guy
to perception, definitely.
Yeah, top 8. And so right now, he's on track to do that. Right now, every bit of evidence is that he's on track to do that. By the time he leaves, there's a good chance that you guys will be a top 8 side. And so, I'm just struggling to see the drama in all this. This is a guy that's abided by his contract, communicated clearly and fairly to the club, and doing exactly what he was signed to do. So it's at what point is the drama? Now, obviously, the elephant in the room is the last year with the team first and the Lockie Galvin stuff. I've got to say, and I feel like Jarome handled this perfectly. I feel sorry for Lockie Galvin because you can be critical at the time of how Lockie Galvin handled things. You can also be critical of the West Tigers, how they handled things. But the kid was 19 years old. Okay, he made a little bit of a mistake, whatever. And then him getting dragged all the way back into it. Just what Jarome Luai said. Let him do his thing now. It's done, it's dusted. Both parties are better off. He's happy at the Dogs. The Tigers are flying. So it actually ended up being a win for everyone. And people are trying to go, there's similarities. So they're trying to say he said team first. How can you be all in if you've signed for another club? So basically, are we saying that unless you are a one-club player, you can never be all in with a club? Unless you sign with the club and then stay there for the rest of your career, that means you're not all in. Like, for example, was Stephen Crichton all in when he left the Panthers for the Dogs? Was James Fisher-Harris all in when he left the Panthers for the Warriors? They all went on. Was Luai? They all went on to win premierships. I just think I think people are trying to create something that's not there.
Yeah, so I obviously saw all of this over the last couple of days, and the links to the Galvin situation, especially for Tigers fans, I guess they almost felt it was like deja vu, right? It's all happening. It almost happened 12 months to the day. Like, we're just over 12 months removed from when Benji and Jarome fronted the media after all the Galvin stuff happened. I think the major concern and what I landed on from a fan's perspective is the effect of the announcement, which is where they kind of made links to, which I think was put to bed this morning by Jarome. I don't think we're going to see a repeat of last year. But the concern was last year, big announcement comes out and the club just couldn't recover from it. They went 10 weeks straight without winning a game. And I think that's where the concern came from my knowledge.
When is he supposed to announce it?
100%.
Like, it's going to get announced.
And that's the thing, right? Because of we've got to remember, this whole situation is very taboo because there's no other player in the NRL that has a contract like Jarome's, where on April 30, which is 10 rounds into the comp, he's got to make his decision up. So the Tigers, yes, it's a weird situation. It's a different situation. But like you said, he's done nothing wrong. He's a different player to Lachlan Galvin. The situation's different to Lachlan Galvin. So there's really...
And it's unfair to Lockie too.
And it's 100%.
And he's 20 years old.
I would suggest that, and it's just before I get my point across, Jarome Luai's never one that we speak about for his maturity and his level head. But today he showed that. To your point, Beak, I think he was brilliant in not dragging Lockie back into the conversation. But I reckon it's a very easy get for the Tigers. Obviously, we've seen for 10 years now, the list comes out every 12 months of all the players they've let go from their organisation. So it becomes, as you said, it becomes a very easy line to sort of to link. But as you said, he couldn't have handled this any better. He got the clauses. There'll be players out there now calling their agents, questioning, whether they need clauses in their contracts and things like that. So as far as this goes, you've only got to sit back and applaud him because him and his management have got every element of this right. He's been $1 million player now for a few years after winning all the premierships he did, and now he's going to go and double that money. So, hey, I tip my hat to you, young fella. It's a huge play from you and your management. I think
the Tigers deserve a lot of credit as well. Like, there has been no negative energy from them. There's been a lot of understanding. I just think everyone's handled it really well.
Yeah, it was great today.
Yeah, I think as well, like, it shows how far the organisation has come, that something usually so seismic that would just hit so hard, after a day of speaking it out, it looks like, okay, it's happened and we're moving forward, Yeah,
I watched them train after the announcement. And one thing I want to make, I guess let the audience know about the announcement. His whole family was there. So his kids, his missus, his manager was there, his dad was there. And Terrell May and Sonia Taruva came and stood with the media and watched the press conference. Like, they're two of his best mates. So, yeah, the whole situation has been handled so well. And then watching how they came onto the field. It's very easy to put up a front to the media when there's cameras there. I was there after the cameras had left. Nothing had changed. He led the warm-up. He led the way of the team. Before training started, him and the leadership group got together. They were talking. They went through things, laughing, high fives, all that stuff. Things aren't going to change at this club.
No, well, the thing is sorry to interrupt, but you're actually going to get a better version of Jarome now for 18 months because he knows the perception that could be that he's not given his all because he's off to PNG. But I reckon that the Tigers now are going to get the best version of Jarome that they've ever had before.
Well, you're right, because it's put a time limit on the legacy he can leave. He no longer can say, okay, we made top 8 this year, all right, top 6 the next year. It's like, really, I've got 18 months to make some long-lasting impact at this club. So, yeah, I just think everyone deserves as much credit as possible. I think it's handled perfectly. I don't think it'll impact anyone. And I think that, and to be honest, maybe I'm being a little bit naive, but by the time he leaves, he'll be nearly 30. They've got plenty of time and plenty of money to go and sign or get some.
They've got plenty of talent underneath as well. 5'8" is actually one of their more stacked positions at the club this year, which it has never been before. But Latu Finu, he went back to reserve grade last week because he didn't get minutes with the first grade side. Put on 3 try assists. He looked really good in a losing side. Javon Andrews, there's a lot of raps on him and how good I guess he can be. Apparently attacking-wise, he's an absolute freak. There's still a couple of lapses in defense, but that's going to come with time. He's a 19-year-old kid. And then you've obviously got the elephant in the room, the guy who came in for Jarome when he was injured, Jock Madden, and won the Tigers multiple games without him. Like, they have supply there, but then come November 1, when they can actually look for players,
they got $1.5 million nearly, like $1.2 million. Like, imagine a world where they go, okay, let's go Jock Madden and Dewey, and they continue to kill it. That's $1.2 million. That you can get literally the top tier with that. So I think that, like, there is a world where Tigers have gotten to the point where they are strong enough to move on without Luai. Like, we're not talking about the same Tigers when Luai arrived, where they were struggling to recruit. Like, they won't struggle to recruit in 2 years if they continue playing as well as they are. They're an exciting club. They've got a great forward pack. They've got a super... Like, think about how many young players are going to want to play on a Benji now. Obviously, they've got the superstar part of it, but also seeing that he's like a new age coach that lets the boys be themselves, but also demands excellence, that also has success on the field as well. Like, I just think that...
You know what he said too, Beak, and his actual quote in the press conference was, we know that the threat of Perth and PNG is going nowhere, so our job now is to make our environment so great that people want to recommit. And as I said, I know... getting things right in front of the camera is really important as an NRL coach, but Benji absolutely nailed every aspect this morning, and it should give the Tigers fans so much hope about their next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and when I was out there this morning, just to let Tigers fans know, there were player managers walking through the front door of Concord Oval. So there are conversations happening.
Okay.
But also, just to your point, Kempy, come November 1, when they can start looking at players to replace Jarome, the halves that are on the market come November 1. Nathan Cleary, Sam Walker, young gun Joey Walsh at Manly, Blaze Talangi, Matt Burden. All hit the open market come November 1 and can negotiate with other clubs.
And you got money to do it.
You've got money to do it, and you've got all those guys sitting there as well. The Tigers have options.
Yeah, they're just in such a better spot. And again, that was the job that he was brought to do. And obviously, Api Coruscant as well came before Jarome. So I think this is great for the game. I really do. Like, I think the Tigers are going to be fine. I think this is perfect for PNG. The biggest losers, boys, we nearly got into it before, mate. Perth, like, I'm genuinely, like, I'm just trying to think about their first year. With the roster it looks like they're going to have. Like, they will struggle to win more than 3 or 4 games, potentially.
I had a conversation with Mal Meninga and CEO Anthony DeSegli a couple months ago now. And when I was speaking to Mal, I said, mate, honestly, what's your view? Where do you see this team going in your first year? It was 12 months out. He told me that he could see that team challenging for a premiership in year 1. And there's fake optimism. And
yeah, there's no chance. Like, there's no chance.
I said to him, I said, mate, well, like, to be fair, you don't have a marquee signing yet. And he said, mate, what do you mean we don't have a marquee signing? We've got multiple marquee signings. So,
you know what I can't get my head around? And I think I brought it up last time I was on the show, boys, that we've been a game that's never gave really any leg ups to new franchises. So we've gone from, and I'm going to mention the AFL. There's not a lot I don't think that the AFL do better than us, but one thing they do is if they identify an area that they must grow in, they bring a team in and they give them every opportunity to be successful. I love that the PNG Chiefs are getting the support and like crazy levels of support that we've never seen before. But I just don't get, how do we go from never helping anyone to saying to a franchise you're going to get zero tax for any player that wants to come to your organisation? So,
well, you get the Australian government involved. That's
no, like, I get that, but far out, man. You think someone in the building went, gee, if we're going to help them in 28, there's probably something we need to do for Perth in 27. It's like we've completely forgot to.
You know what's crazy
make
as well?
Their road into the NRL a little bit easier.
You know what's crazy as well is, like, and I'm being genuine. If I was a player, even if there was no tax-free money, I would actually be more excited to go and play for PNG for a couple of years than I would be for Perth.
100%.
For the opportunity.
Because of what Jarome is saying. Like, don't get me wrong, the money is great. Like, let's not all pretend like the money isn't unbelievable. Like, let's say they had the same salary cap. Like, I find the PNG Chiefs far more appealing for the impact it can have and the seismic change it brings to rugby league. Whereas Perth, like, unfortunately, and I know it's not good for rugby league that we're speaking so negatively about it, but we have to be honest. Like what is really the appeal of Perth right now?
It's like I thought. Well, when they signed Mal was supposed to be the appeal. You've got this.
But was that their leg up? Was that them thinking they were giving Perth a leg up and helping them? Because I don't know any player that's going, gee, I want to go big coach by Mal Meninga.
No, but that's what their thought was. So at the time, their thought was, we've got Mal Meninga. And you hear anyone, like Perth have a very small team at the moment, and by team, I mean team of people that work around there. It's always, we've got Mal. It's not enough. It's really not enough.
Like Mal hasn't coached a first grade side for like 20 years or something, 25 years or something like that.
And the stint that he had coaching a first grade side wasn't great.
Like Mal's an absolute legend of the game. Like, couldn't give the bloke more respect. Like, he paved the way. He's an immortal. Like, but it's a different generation now. You know, like it's just, I don't know. It's a different game. Then there's all this dramas going on, the people getting let go, and recruitment managers and all that kind of carry on. I'm with you, Blake, in the sense that like I'm still shocked beyond belief that we haven't given them any kind of extra salary cap. Like,
it's too late though now.
Oh, I know you can't, but like we should have at the start. And you know what, Dolphins should have got it as well. In Dolphins,
any
are in a
new
good
franchise,
spot. Yeah, any new franchise should have some kind of like little bit of a leg up. Whether it's like the Dolphins get 1.25 of the salary cap, and then Perth you get 1.5, and then PNG you get 2 times. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree. I think it's getting to a point now. Where is the excitement? Like, there is excitement around PNG. There's a whole nation of excitement around PNG. Where is the excitement when it comes to Perth? Like, is there any? Am I being too critical? Like, I don't hear anyone saying I can't wait for Perth to come into the competition next year. I see Perth coming into the competition next year and getting the wooden spoon.
At the moment, it's going to be like, Blake, how many games do you reckon they could win with the current trajectory their rosters on?
They've got 18 signed players, I think.
How many games do you reckon they'll win next year?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you asked me at the start of the year how many losses Craig Bellamy and the Melbourne Storm would have, I would have had them in very low numbers, and they've already lost 6 on the bounce. So, look, things aren't looking great. The coaching appointment for me, and I don't want to be harsh on, one of the biggest legends our sport's ever seen, but to me, that was one of the most bizarre coaching appointments I've ever seen. I think there was a bit of a belief that he could actually rally the Western Australian state. But I don't even know if Mal Meninga has that sort of star power anymore anyway. Like, I think a Billy Slater or someone up and coming would have been a better fit to grow with the franchise as they were coming in. But to answer your question, I'm not silly enough to make a bold prediction on how many wins or losses, because I know that too much will go on between now and then. But it's hard to see them being very successful from the word go.
Like, honestly, if they win 5 to 7 games in their first year, I'd say that's a successful year.
Especially with the roster they've got.
Yeah.
With the roster they've got, yeah, that's 100%. Like, if they somehow manage to not finish last, because I think if you put them in the competition this year with what their starting 17 could be, I don't see them being better than the 17 teams we already have.
With how quickly teams can score tries now, like, mate, there are going to be scores that are just like out of this world. Scores like we've anyway.
Fast track in Western Australia as well. Drive, fast footy.
Yeah. Look, great stuff for PNG though. Really good stuff. I think Tigers will be fine. I think PNG sounds so exciting, and they've also managed to sign Alex Johnston as well. Now that's been agreed to. I don't know if a contract's been signed, but it's been agreed to. Do you know any more about that?
It's a weird situation. Like, Alex Johnston was always the guy, right? Everyone kind of saw him as PNG's first signing, and probably would have been until Jarome Luai came on the scene. Depending on who you talk to, you get 2 different narratives around this. Talk to people around Alex Johnston, including Alex Johnston. He posted on his Instagram that it was a done deal.
That's why I checked it, because so I saw some people say, "Oh, this isn't done yet," and I was like, "Well, he's posted it."
Yeah, so it's been agreed upon. He's had, from my understanding, he's had the contract for a while. Hadn't put pen to paper. Obviously, a lot of buzz came around PNG the last couple of days. And
well, it wouldn't have the same ring if it was Jarome Luai, our second signing, would it?
Exactly. So
okay.
read between the lines a bit there what you will, but Alex Johnston, yeah, he's heading there. I mean, I don't think the misunderstanding between the management and whatnot has caused too much of a stir. I mean, I don't think people are happy that all of a sudden they've announced him as a signing without PNG announcing him. But yeah, he's on his way there. He'll be there the same time. It's a 1-year deal, and to be fair, he'll be at the back end of his career by then. Be around $325,000 tax-free dollars.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. You're getting a guy like Alex Johnston for $300,000. Like,
yeah, and there is a bit of a
cheap compared to what you would, like for how good he is.
There's a bit of a misconception as well around PNG, which I should bring up. Like, I know it seems really unfair that like the tax-free money obviously is very appealing. They can't give people significant unders to go over there because the NRL won't register their contracts. So Jarome Luai couldn't have gone over on $900,000 when the Tigers were going to give him $1.2 million over the next 3 years.
Market value.
Yeah. They have to go over.
There's a threshold.
So they have to spend 95% of their salary cap still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like there's so for example, like Tigers might be willing to offer him 1.2 or whatever.
Yeah.
So they would do some calculations, and then the salary cap auditor would say, this is the lowest you can possibly offer him. So it might be like 800 or 900 or 750 because his market value,
But he was on contract for for 5 years, right, initially, and now I think it would have been 3 years left. They couldn't have offered him less than what he was going to get the next couple of years. The NRL wouldn't have registered.
No, they can. It just has to be within a range. So, like for example, just because the Tigers are saying we'll pay you 1.2 million, that doesn't mean that he's worth 1.2 to every single club in the NRL. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand, but I think
the auditor will set the market value, right?
Yeah, so like there'll be a threshold. So like for example, they could offer him PNG could have said we'll give you $1 million, and the NRL would have approved that because it's within the threshold of like that $1.2 million of his value kind of thing. Like that's how they work it out. Like it's not worked on like whatever a club will offer you, that's the minimum you can take somewhere else.
No, but I think from my conversation over the last couple of days, because I thought the same thing, it was within the range, but because he was already that was his established value because he was already signed on for the next couple of years.
He had 2 more years, yeah.
There's a benchmark. There is a benchmarking aspect of it.
Really? Yeah. I mean, look, we'd have to speak to the auditors because like that's. There's been plenty of players that have taken less money to go elsewhere.
And I said that. Well, I've used the example of Ben Hunt.
The difference in this one.
There you go.
Yeah, go Blake.
The difference in this one is he had 2028 locked in for 1.1.
Yeah, but like so, for example, Mitch Barnett.
Yeah.
He's probably on like 900K right now, something like that. He's leaving the Warriors earlier, and he's going to be on 750. You got Ben Hunt. I think he leave a year early to the Broncos on and he got landed at like 400K or something like that.
So the argument, I used the Ben Hunt example in my conversations. The argument was where Ben Hunt was in his career, the time spent back end of his career, they determined that he was actually worth less than what he initially signed for with the Dragons. And then when the Dragons let him go, it was free reign on who was going to sign then.
Yeah,
and the NRL love helping clubs more than others.
Yeah,
I think I've got a similar understanding to what Blake does. There is something around benchmarking that they do.
I reckon if Jarome Luai went to the Tigers and said, I want to release, and the Tigers were like, okay, you can leave, and then another club said, we'll give him $1 million, I reckon the NRL would register that contract. Anyway, it doesn't. To be honest, it's not relevant. But
it was a big loophole.
I don't even know what we're speaking about. Anyway, I didn't even know what we're talking about. But yeah, look, great stuff. Oh, we're talking about Alex Johnston and the minimum, how much we could pay him. And you were talking about how they can't offer players unders. Like you can't
significant unders.
Yeah, you can't go and offer like Reece Walsh $600,000 and say, well, he would have gotten that $1 million, whatever. So great signing. On to the next one, guys. And don't forget, make sure to be ready for the Bloke jersey dropping Monday 6 p.m. and codesports.com.au/bloke. Get your discount for the year at codesports.com.au/bloke. Dean Ritchie, comments on Tigers fans. I'm with him. You're a bunch of grubs, mate. You're a bunch of grubs. Mate, screaming fuck you to our opposition, that's disgraceful stuff.
You obviously haven't seen the backlash that has got by fans.
The Viking clap, that is disgraceful stuff. To take someone else's beloved crowd, communal aspect of a crowd and use it against them, disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Beck, have you seen my take recently?
No, I didn't see it.
Mine was I was just warning the Tigers fans that I didn't think the rugby league gods would like their behaviour. And as it's played out, they've lost their number 6 3 days after them events, and Jarome Luai's now missing 4 weeks. So I'd like to think I'm pretty spot on about the footy gods.
Yep, absolutely. You deserve everything bad coming your way, Tigers fans. Disgraceful behaviour.
Yeah, look, it's I don't see any.
It's going to be rage bait. This.
Look,
this is a rage bait article.
I work with Dean Ritchie. He's in the building with me when he comes in.
Can you tell people about the article, please?
Yeah, so he's come out and he's pretty much said that the swearing on the hill and the Viking clap and all those things was just a bit disrespectful, and Tigers fans shouldn't have done it. I mean, I love you, Bulldog. Have you ever been to a footy game before? Like, this happens all the time. This is not the Tigers. As much as I'd love to say, as a Tiger supporter, we created this banter. This happens every game you go to. You go to a game where the Broncos are getting pumped. It's the same thing.
Bulldog got accused of just being an old flog that can't get with the modern times. I actually do believe there is some merit in a uniformed F Raiders on a hill with drunk idiots. I think that may be a little tasteless. And the argument that the Tigers have been crappy for so long and they deserve their chance to, I still think it was a little bit tasteless. And that's why I took the angle of the footy gods, just to, come at it from a jovial sort of angle. But, they're getting some success at the minute. And for me, the Tigers fans just don't know what to do with it yet, because success comes with responsibility. And F the Raiders in a uniform manner, 5,000 people on a hill. I do actually, and I know that I'll sound like a narc, but I actually do think that is a little tasteless.
Oh, fuck.
I don't, look, I was there, was not chanting F off Raiders, but.
Why not? Because it's tasteless? It came from the audio on the TV as well. You could clearly hear.
It wasn't one of the. I know they did. I know they did the Viking clap a couple of times. Actually, the first Viking clap they did was like with 18 minutes to go, and it was like 10 points in the game. I went, "Oh, you guys don't know how to win. Like, this is too early, eh?" But
man, it's a nothing burger in my opinion. I don't think it's anything.
Were they doing it quite frequently, Blake? Was it like a...
No, the FU one didn't.
I thought it was only once, right?
Only once or twice, the FU one stuff.
Look, like...
Viking, probably 4 or 5.
Yeah, the Viking clap happened a lot.
The Viking clap, I don't even know what's getting brought up. That stuff happens constantly. People take the piss out of...
Mick Ennis made it famous to do it right.
People have been doing other people's chants forever. I think it's funny.
Look, I don't love the swearing aspect. We've all been to footy games where you have this drunk bloke behind you and there'll be kids around and he'll be hammering someone. But to be honest, when it comes to this incident, it was nothing personal. It was rugby league. That's how I see it. It happens when I play park footy on the weekend. It happens when first graders play NRL, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Like, I don't think there's any way you stamp this out of the game.
Footy gods will get you.
Yeah, they got us. It's all right. We don't need any more. We've learned.
I think it's funny. I thought it was funny as. It's a night game too, so the kids should be in bed anyway. Don't forget, guys, Aspley Mazda. If you're looking to upgrade right now, we've got a massive opportunity. If you buy any new or used car before July 19th, you have a chance to be gifted a day at the footy, a suite with me, Alex Gendrayayi, and Lukey the car man. And also, whoever wins it gets to bring a friend. Plus, Alex Glenn is giving you 2 passes to go into the sheds after the game. And it's going to be versus the Knights later this year, guys. So it is truly a money can't buy experience. And you go into the draw to be gifted this experience if you buy any new or used car from Aspley Mazda. You just have to shoot Lukey a DM or mention Bloke at the dealership and go to LDC_01 on Instagram. Boys, Knights re-signed Kalen Ponga. Did we speak about this last? No, I don't think we did. Sorry? We did not. No, we did not. I'll go to you. Do you have any insight on how this all came about?
Well, it all happened. I mean, we can jump straight to Blake, but it all happened really quickly. No one, it caught all of us by surprise, and that's the thing that doesn't really happen when contract negotiations are going on. But the mail mostly was that Kalen was going to see what was out there. A lot of the messaging that was coming across was that Kalen was going to have to move elsewhere to get the premiership that he desires. he obviously thinks differently.
Blake, what are your thoughts, mate? KP re-signing on a big deal to 2030.
I think it's a big get for the Knights. I sort of said yesterday too, I think we've been a little bit unfair on Kalen for a little while now. I think there was a general belief that we all kind of thought he'd outgrown that place, and he was sort of starting to believe that too. I know the All Blacks was getting mentioned regularly. Kalen Ponga and the Roosters was something that come up. But probably unfair because Kalen never gave any indication that he didn't want to be in the Hunter. He certainly bought into that place with every ounce of might that he's had. He's had an indifferent run with injury. Obviously, we'd love to see Kalen on the footy field more often. So in terms of structures and game plans, and is that the right decision for them going forward? I'm happy for them to, like they obviously do, and that's all that matters. But on the flip side, he is, we spoke about Jarome Luai and star power and stardom at the top of the show. And for him to, I feel like he's backed a little guy in some ways. Like, as I said, All Blacks and Roosters seemed like really nice fits for him, but he's gone, no, I want to back this little guy. I want to get in the trenches and I'm going to do all I can to try and deliver a premiership to the Hunters. So good on him. He's recommitted, and it's a big get for that region.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point you bring up. Like, he actually has really backed the Knights in and gone, we've just spoken about we speak about players going, you know what, I'm going to stick with the club that might or might not win a premiership, but if I do win a premiership with that club, it'll mean, almost 2 or 3 premierships compared to some of the bigger clubs. You think of Tino staying at the Titans, Cooper Bye as a younger guy coming through, obviously the Storm want him, and yeah, KP. So it's a good point you bring up that he really is backing, like, you know what, like I came here as a young kid from the Cowboys, I'm going to see it all the way through. Look, I think we can all agree, Kalen Ponga, when he's fit, is a top 5 player in the game. Maximum top 10. But I'd say top 5 player in the game. He won a Dally M. I guess the question I have to ask, though, is if he averages 15 games a season for the next 4 seasons, is that money well spent, do you think?
Well, that's what I sort of brought up in terms of they're going to have some kids, coming through that they're going to have to get the salaries of them right. I also believe that the Knights, to be as successful as Kalen wants them to be, they're still a middle away and a dominant middle at that, and that's going to cost them $1 million. So you throw Fletcher Sharp, Fletcher Hunt, and a big name middle. It's going to get really tight at the top end of their salary cap over the next little period. But you're right, at his best, he deserves every penny of what they've paid him, because I think he brings hope to a region there that hasn't had a lot for a long time as well. But you're right to question whether the money they will be spending and the return on investment they get. I think it's genuine to sort of question that a little.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because 15 games at the top grade a year for someone of your talent, whether you paid $1.4 million or you paid $800K, you need more than that from those guys. Like anything above, if you're a regular first grader, you need to be more than 15 games a year. So you just got to get his body right. Body mentality, because when he's on the field, there's no denying how good he is, and you speak to Kalen and he has that belief in himself. So look, I think you have to give him the money, because if Newcastle are going to do well, like we saw in the game and a half that he's played this year, he will be at the forefront of it. He'll be doing everything. His combination with Dylan Brown will be elite when they can get on the field together. So you had to pay him it, but yeah, for my liking, we just need to see him on that. It cannot be averaging 15 game a year.
Because the concern I have is that, if you're paying him $1.3 million, you're paying Dylan Brown $1.3 million, every good front rower is over $1 million now. If you're a top tier front rower, it's over $1 million. Where does that leave money for a guy like Fletcher Sharp in 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, there's definitely a squeeze there. And I don't know... You would have to think, and from speaking to people around Newcastle, they are thinking about this. They know the direction their club's heading, but you can't fit all of them in. And sadly, for Fletcher Sharp, if he's going to keep playing the footy that he is, he's going to be worth more than what Newcastle can afford. So we'll probably see him move.
And I guess the problem I have, or the concern I have, is that, like, let's say you go, let's look at the Melbourne Storm spine. They're paying Munster $900, they're paying Hughes $950, Harry Grant $1 million or whatever. The difference is, granted, this year's different, But we're talking about the best spine in the competition for the last 2 years. They've made back-to-back grand finals. You look at a guy like Nathan Cleary, consistently taking his team to premierships and winning them. Isaiah Yeo, another. You know what I mean? The two, Ponga and Brown, they haven't done that yet. Now, granted, Brown did go to a grand final for the Eels. And so, I just worry whether, in a perfect world, could you get them to take just a little bit less so you could spend more money elsewhere to pad their roster a little bit more? It's a lot of money spent on guy that either is really good, one of the best in the competition on his day, but only has a history of not playing as many games. Dylan Brown, who has a history of a bit of inconsistency, like he's a bloody good player, but he's yet to hit his potential yet. Not a Dally M player yet either. And I just look at a guy like Fletcher Sharp, and it's kind of like, if he kicks off the way we think he's going to kick off, how long do you keep him on 500, 600K? And then all of a sudden, you're spending, 1.3, and $1 million on Fletcher Sharp. That's a lot of your salary cap for three guys that haven't won a premiership before.
You also have people like Bradman Best, who's on good coin up there. Look, they were in a position where they had to spend over. Something had to change. And now this is the result. This is, we talk about positives and negatives. This is the negatives, right? Like, you're trying to rebuild your club, rebuild from the ground up. You got your new coach, got your two star players. And just in almost every case in rugby league, and you guys will be able to talk at this more, there's not enough room for everyone.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to look at it and go, okay, Knights at the moment have I think in the top 10 they've got two of the most highest paid players in the top 10.
Yeah, they do.
Two.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money into just two players. So look,
especially when they still seem a million miles off a premiership.
Yes, that
they've definitely improved, but there's some big pieces of that puzzle missing to be a premiership.
But do they get Dylan? I don't know. You were going to say, well, they shouldn't maybe sign them, but do they get Dylan Brown and Kalen Ponga without paying them that much money?
But do you need both? Would be the deeper question, probably.
I think they were desperate for that. Look, well, I know for a fact they were desperate for a half last year. I think they probably spent a little bit too much money on Dylan Brown. I consider him a running 5/8 more than a half, and they needed that more ball organising half. But Dylan Brown was the best on the market that they could get. So you can't really fault him in that. I know it's going to have trickle consequences, like we've spoken about.
For example, why not wait to see how Fletcher Sharp flourishes? Because KP was signed till the end of 2027. So you still had till November 1 to kind of wait to see what was going on there.
Yeah, look,
it's a huge commitment to your roster is locked in until 2030. Pretty much everything is around those two guys. They have to deliver. So I will say this: if KP can play 20 or more games every single year, then I'll say it's a good signing for sure. There is going to be they're going to lose someone though. So they're either not going to be able to get enough depth in their front row, like they're not going to be able to get a big dog there, or they're going to lose Fletcher Sharp. Something's going to have to give there, because I just don't know how you're going to afford, unless KP took a massive pay cut, which I highly doubt.
No.
I just don't know how you can afford to get $1 million front rower, $1 million, 1.3, and then another. You just can't afford it.
No.
So something's got to give somewhere.
Can I add? Footy Gods has been the theme of my content over the last 3 days. I watched a clip from Kalen Ponga sitting down with Keegan Hipgrave, and he actually went along them lines as he's just waiting for someone looking over him to give him a run of consistent footy. He feels like he's doing all he can to remain on the park, and for whatever reason, little things just keep popping up. So I reckon it's just really important. We wish him all the best and hope that he can get on the field, because, as I said, the game's a better one when he's on it, not just for the Knights, but for everyone that's tuning in. So,
well, we saw what he did a couple of years ago when he won his Dally M. He carried that side. Like, he is that good.
Their back end of the season was unbelievable.
Yeah, and so he is that good. He actually can carry sides. So that's my main focus is, listen, if he's playing 20 or more games, great re-signing. All I'm saying is that there'll be a pinch somewhere, and there might be a little bit of pain to keep a guy like KP. But if he's playing 20 or more games, that pain is worth it, in my opinion, because players like KP come once in a generation. When it becomes not worth it is if we're in our third year.
He can't stay on the field.
Yeah, and he's struggling with some niggles and all that kind of stuff. So Look, the thing I do really love for the Knights, and it shows you how much they've changed as an organisation, how much better they're getting. No one heard about it. No dramas, no leaks, nothing.
And he got to tell his teammates, which was so cool. I love that video.
10 years. Bro, he's been there 10 years. Where has that time gone? Because it feels like yesterday we were spraying the Knights for paying overs for this kid coming out of Toyota Cup. 10 years he's been at that club.
Wow, far out. So, yeah, congratulations to the Knights for getting it done the way they did. It is just that's a much better administration. They look like they're doing all the right things. I'm super intrigued to see a guy like KP under Holbrook, who has great attacking coaching. Can you imagine KP's attack getting better?
Yeah,
like
linking up with Dominic Young on an edge.
This weekend they compete in the Harold Matts and the SG Ball Grand Finals, both of them. So both of them games is the Roosters v the Knights. So certainly doing a lot of good things. Peter O'Sullivan heading things up. Adam Blair's running the pathways. So they are certainly starting to get somewhere where they should be. That area is an absolute heartland of rugby league, and we all want to see them successful.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you say to me, Dylan Brown can hit his potential, KP can stay on the field for more than 20 games, and their juniors are as good as they seem to be, then you can kind of do the Penrith model where what you do is you fill up, you fill these stars around them with all these young juniors before they're too expensive, and then once they start pricing themselves up, the next young junior, like that's what Penrith have done. They just basically...
Dylan Alpha Dog middle butt beak, you reckon they need?
Well, hopefully they get it through the juniors, and hopefully Trey Mooney can grow into that. He is an under-19 rep. Look, in a perfect world, for sure, I do think that another front rower would work. But who knows? It could be some young guy coming through, or it could be Trey Mooney developing into the front rower that everyone hoped that he would develop into.
Their juniors have always been elite as well. Like I remember,
but when their pathways just all shot about 4 or 5 years ago.
Well, when was it? I think 2022 when I was in SG Ball. I'm pretty sure they either made the they made the semi. Oh no, they made the semi final. And up until that point, they smoked every I'm not even going to reveal the score they put on my Dragons team. Fletcher Sharp scored like 5 or 6 tries against us, and it was not a fun day up in Curry. I think we played. They've always had talent there, and they've got such a big pool to pick from. So yeah, I mean, since then they've always been there or abouts. Like they've always had talent. So I don't think long term they should be stressing about how many guys they can bring in, because the guys they can filter through the grades will come to fruition.
Yeah, hopefully they got sorted, because I do know there was a period there where their junior pathways just weren't linking up properly. Now, guys, some eligibility chat. Oh, good old eligibility chat. So KP, he had a chat with Brent Reed. He said, I had a small conversation with Blandies. It was a very, very brief conversation. I just said, I don't feel comfortable wearing the Australian jersey on the cultural side, and that given the opportunity, I would definitely want to represent my culture and my family. When asked about representing both Queensland and New South Wales, he said, a lot of people don't understand it, and they're probably from New South Wales, respectfully. I spent a lot of my child up there in Queensland. I feel like what I'm doing is the same as Tonga Samoa, those boys are doing. Unless you have lived in Queensland or been part of Queensland campaigns, you don't understand the feeling. You can't replicate that feeling. I haven't played for New Zealand. I haven't had that opportunity to represent my country, but I've never felt anything like representing Queensland. My heart is with my culture, but then everything that rugby league has given me is also from Queensland. That is where I grew love for the game. That is where I started the game. My family lived there for a long period of time. That is a connection. I have obviously worn the jersey, so I know how much it means to a lot of people. People play for Samoa and Tonga and Queensland and New South Wales. I don't understand how it's any different. It really is. If you're going to allow Samoa and Tongan players to do it, you've got to allow the Kiwis. Thoughts, Blakey?
I reckon we're finally, we're right on the precipice of getting this absolutely right. I think it's unfair on Kalen, because I don't think people underestimate what sort of sense of belonging and the issues around that he has to face regularly. I come from a place where my partner is Samoan, so I've got a son that is half Samoan, half Australian. He has English heritage and New Zealand heritage as well. And I know that watching him grow as a 15-year-old kid and really fully trying to understand who he is as a person and culturally, it's been a struggle for him. So I know that there would be Kalen, when he's in a Queensland shirt, would absolutely love where he is and what he's about. But there would be that pull for him to go and represent the Kiwis as well. As I said at the start, I think we're very close to getting things absolutely right. You have I get that we've got an aging demographic and they hate seeing the ability for individuals to represent multiple nations, but the world is getting smaller and we have to get with the times. The caveat to that and everything I just said, the Moses Leota one, I think we finally got the rules to a place where the ideas around it had simmered a bit. And then the story comes out and says, well, he's missed it by 6 months, so we're going to try to get him some dispensation. I think if this is the path we want to go down, we do need to set the rules, and the rules can't be bent. I know it would be extremely unfortunate for Moses Leota that he misses out by 6 months, 5 months, 3 days, 2 days. But if this is the way we want to go, because there is a large proportion of our game that we do have to respect as well. There is a larger Anglo-Saxon portion of our game that want to protect the fabric as well. Unfortunately, we can't protect it as much as some of them would like. But we do need to evolve with the times and accept the fact that the world is getting so much smaller. It's not like it once was. So, yeah, I'd love to see Kalen represent. If he fits the criteria and the rules are in place that allow him to do it, I'd love to see him represent his culture. I think he spoke about his sister's journey and understanding who she is, and that has led him down the path to really want to give back to his culture as well. So, I think it's great news for the sport that we may finally, at some point, see a World Cup that's actually contested and not just Australia, cleaning up the trophy.
What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I remember when the story broke and we were doing the Monday show and we're talking about kind of eligibility and whatnot. And initially I felt weird about it. I felt weird, because my whole life I've been told that if you play for New Zealand, you can't play Origin or, there's kind of those separations. But hearing the way Kalen spoke about it, I mean, I find it pretty inspiring and pretty motivating. We all have things that we care about and that we feel passionately about. Kalen grew up in Queensland and he wants to represent his heritage. Go for it, that's I think that's the be all and end all at the end of the day. His passion is what's going to make him play the best footy. So if he's passionate for Queensland and he's just as passionate about New Zealand, I'd much rather see him wear both of those jerseys than him sacrifice playing for Queensland just to play for New Zealand, or then choosing to play for Queensland and choosing to play for Australia, which, like he said, he didn't feel comfortable doing. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting a Moldy jersey on because I'm not Moldy, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, there's a bit of grey area. Queensland is anyway. Fuck, I've done this topic so many times, but I see what you're saying. It's just Australia still did give these boys all these opportunities. New South Wales is in Queensland. Sorry. New South Wales is in Australia. Queensland is in Australia.
That's in Queensland.
But no, I get it. It's best for the game. It is best for the game, and I think that if we don't do this, it'll just hurt the game. We'll always be stuck as a small time game if we don't make some bold, tough decisions. But I do agree with you that Blake, we've set the criteria. No bullshit. No,
no dispensations.
No
that's
dispensation.
Ridiculous.
None
That's
of that
ridiculous.
carry on. And it wouldn't have been Moses that pushed it. And I get it why Moses would want it, but it's just that's the law. That's the rules. You either qualify or you don't. If you don't, then you play for your country that you qualify for. But we've got to make sure that you can't swap all the time. I don't want to see players swapping between countries because then it's just the whole reason why we love international sport is because of the connection and passion players have for jerseys. And if you're 1 year you play for this country and then the next year you play for that country, it's kind of it just cheapens it a little bit.
How do you get around that though?
It's got to be I reckon a 4-year World Cup.
Because over the last couple of years we've always seen a lot of players move from representing Australia, representing New Zealand to those smaller nations.
That's different though. Because
but would you be okay with them moving one? I agree, right? It shouldn't be back and forth. But would you be okay with them making the decision once, but then once you make the decision, you have to wait a certain period before you go back and play again? Because I would hate, and I think you guys would feel the same, if players go, I want to play for Australia, and the only reason they go play for one of the smaller countries is because they don't make the Australian team.
But that's better. But we've been doing that. That helps build the international game.
But don't you think that cheapens it though? Does that not cheapen it either? If that's not where your heart is.
But you've got to have some kind of trade-off. You've got to have, for example, if we were if we were doing this purely about, national pride, then we wouldn't have this eligibility. We would have like, no, if you're born here, you play here. You know what I'm saying?
Can I throw an idea at you?
There's got to be some give and take for the growth of the game. And so I personally think that if you select to play for, like, let's say, for example, you play for Samoa in this World Cup, then for 4 years, the next time you get to choose in that 4 year period.
World Cup year.
Yeah, yeah. I just, because
Can I throw an idea?
Yeah, 2 secs. I understand the idea that, like, you grow and things change. Like, sometimes you want to represent mum's heritage and then dad's heritage. But I just think if you put some kind of barrier in there, it'll just give some kind of structure to the changing between different sides. What do you got there, Blakey?
I reckon for rugby league, and I know universally a World Cup cycle is 4 years. I think we need a 2-year cycle. I reckon we can get rid of every other competition that we usually try to fill in between World Cup years. That would mean that you commit for 2 years. Now, we only have 10-year careers, so committing to something for 4 years is a very, very long time.
Half your career.
So if you had a World Cup every 2 years, there's no other international footy that we ever see in between, other than the nations getting together and preparing for a World Cup in 2 years' time. We're on about loads and protecting our players. You commit. So if you want to commit to Samoa for 2 years, that's great. We could even have content around it where you pledge for your nation for that 2-year period, and then at least you know that they're locked in for that period. But I just think 4 years is way too long for our sport, because all the other competitions in between are kind of irrelevant. In soccer, it works because there's the Euros, there's the African Cup of Nations, there's comps all around the world. But 4 years for me is too long in rugby league.
Do you think it cheapens the impact of World Cup if it's every 2 years, though?
But I think the other tournaments in between are cheap anyway, in my opinion. Like, I don't think they ever have much merit. And if I don't know, 2 years is still a very long time, I would have thought. And you,
See,
you,
I
can,
don't mind the pack champs and that. I think they're pretty.
Yeah, I
cool.
think the last couple of years have been pretty good, especially like we've seen a couple of smaller nations.
Like, I loved watching Samoa, Tonga, and New Zealand. I thought that was sick.
But Blake, were you saying? I'm just trying to follow. Were you saying that there's still the World Cup every 4 years?
No,
but
2 years.
So World
I'm
Cup
saying have one every 2 years and have no other international footy at all.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like, it just doesn't. For me, that wouldn't feel as special. That'd be like if, I don't know about that.
Yeah, because I like the build up. I like the build up. Like, can it be every 3 years? Do it odd number.
And we're still growing as an international.
I see where you're coming from, though. Like, I definitely see where you're coming from, because, like, another to your point, like, it's not like we've got fucking 64 nations in the World Cup. Like,
we've got 10 this year. It's only
like
10.
But yeah, it's like not that many. So it's not. So, like, why the build up? It doesn't need to be as big because the World Cup's not as big. It's a smaller event than a normal World Cup. So I see what you're saying.
And in some ways, you'd be starving them from international footy for 2 years, so they'd have no choice but to enjoy the rise and then get behind their nation at the next World Cup.
Yeah, okay.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, if you're basically saying, so there is going to be at least 1 year every second year that there's no international footy at all.
Yep.
Friendlies?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But that'd be my idea. I think we compare World Cups to cricket and soccer and other sports that are just they've got bigger coverage around the world.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. And you're right. Like, we're comparing them to world games, and we're not a world game. Yeah, Devin, what are your thoughts in regards to timing of change? Like, if, let's say, I play for New Zealand 1 year, are you okay with then I make, like, similar to what you're saying? So let's say I play for the Kiwis and then I go, you know what? Like, I love my dad's heritage. I'm going to change back to I'm not back, sorry. I'm going to go and play for Australia the next year. Do you agree with, like, it has to be then wait 4 years to make another change? What are your thoughts?
I think 4 years is too long. Like, I watch my kids spend time on a Saturday with their Samoan family and my Australian family on a Sunday. So there are elements where your Australian side is super happy that they've selected to represent Samoa, but there would be a feeling of, gee, we'd love for him to be representing, our background as well. So I have no issue with the chop and change. The 2 year idea is my sort of counter argument to that. You lock it in for 2 and you know that you're locked in for that time. Also, if an injury pops up in that sort of time frame, you'd know you're only two years away from getting another opportunity as well. But yeah, I know that it gets a lot of backlash, chopping and changing, and I'm someone that represented England based on my grandmother's heritage. Now, when I lined up for that national anthem. I knew there was guys in that line next to me that representing the nation of Great Britain definitely meant more to them. But let me tell you, it meant so much to me based on the woman that I was representing. So I think we're underestimating the pull that it has on these athletes that do have multiple backgrounds, because all they want to do is they want to represent their family and do it with pride. And if you can only represent one side, you're always going to have your eye on what's going on over there and what that part of your culture means to you as well. So I think flexibility is needed.
Okay, fair enough. I do think there's going to be some kind of time limit. Like after you make that change, like so, let's say I grew up playing for Australia, and I played for Australia till I was 22, 23. Then I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to make myself eligible for New Zealand. Then I would, let's say, the year after, I wouldn't want to see me back in Australia.
That's my.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think that.
But do you want tier 1 and tier 2 though?
Well, I think we've gotten rid of that now.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, apart from the countries that aren't in the World Cup now because it's such a small World Cup. I mean, Samoa has more premiership winners Samoa has more premiership winners than other teams. Tonga has more premiership winners than other teams.
I've got Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, England, and Australia. They are all top. They're all tier 1. I know tier 1 doesn't come from how good they are. It's more from the resources they have growing up. But those 5 teams, I wouldn't like chopping and changing in between, because I want to build rivalries. I want to build. Would it not be weird? Like, you don't think it'd be weird if like someone was playing for Tonga for 3 years, then they went, okay, I'll play for Samoa, which I'm cool with. Like, you go play for Samoa. Then they played Samoa 1 year and then said, you know what, I want to go back to Tonga. You don't reckon that would be weird?
Oh, it'd be a little bit, but I reckon the Pacific nations understand that there are kids out there, and many of them, that they have multiple heritages, and it's easy to have the view that you have to pick and stick when you're Australian or English and nothing else. But yeah, as I said, there is a strain on these kids, and hearing Kalen speak, you can hear the strain when he does speak. He wants to represent Queensland, the place that he's known home for so long, but he also wants to get the chance to represent his nation. In terms of the time frame, I'm not sure. In the past, you've been able to swap and change from tier 1 to tier B straight away. But yeah, going from Australia to New Zealand would seem pretty bizarre based on the history of our sport.
That's going to be weird.
I don't know,
there's going to be someone that does it.
If they tick both boxes, then it's hard to argue.
Yeah, that's crazy. So there's actually who's going to be the first person that plays for Australia and then plays for the Kiwis? Oh shit! And look, it's already happened. Like Brad Thorne did it. Tony Carroll did it. Anyway, it is what it is. Look, the thing is, I think we can all agree. These are the details. I think we all agree that the broad strokes, we're making the right decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Dragons officially signed Scotty Drinkwater and Philip Sami, and this is all powered by Lontel, guys, the best internet in all the land. You guys know the drill. Lontel.net.au/bloke. Use your code. You get 7 days free, $25 credit. You don't need a credit card. You don't need any contracts. So it's a free shot, guys. Trust me. Once you try Lontel, you never go back. I promise you that. Drinky to the Dragons and Philip Sami. I'll go to you, Blake. What do you think, mate?
Oh, 2 high-quality players at a time when they need to be filling their roster with high-quality players. I can't believe anyone would suggest that 900 would be too much for Josh Drinkwater. Scott Drinkwater, sorry. I think he probably deserves a little more than that on top. But if they got him for 900, that's great business. Philip Sami's now proven to be, a pretty consistent outside back. They've got some good outside backs at the club, but they certainly come with a little bit of inconsistency. So, yeah, they need to be getting decisions right, and I don't mind the latest 2 recruitment decisions that they've made. I think they bring a lot to the Dragons.
What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good timing. The announcement that Shane Flanagan getting sacked a couple of weeks ago and Dean Young getting appointed seemed positive, and then obviously the result of the game didn't go the way planned. Went far from that. So to come out with these 2 guys, these 2 signings, it gives Dragons fans a bit of release, but also gives them something to look at towards the future. I mean, I think it's very long odds of the Dragons turning things around this year, but hey, you get these 2 guys in first day 1 of preseason, you start building your club around. You got good young kids there. And I think the thing that gets overlooked with both Phil Sami and Scott Drinkwater is that they've got experience. They're experienced, but not to the point that they're past their date. You know, they're playing really good footy at the moment. I've been really impressed with Scott Drinkwater. And I like you mentioned the other week with Phil Sami, like his form's kind of gone under the radar a bit this year, but he's been really good as well. So it just brings these new guys in. But yeah, I think there's going to be a bit of a clean out at the Dragons. So there will be a few guys there looking for new clubs.
Man, I love the signings. I think this is like, what do they need? They need creativity and points. And Scott Drinkwater does that. You know, he does that. I think that, you know, okay, yes, does he have some errors in his game? He does. But like this is where I think if you look at the Broncos, they've done a really good job at basically telling, and because there was a period there when the Broncos were struggling where all their outside backs were making a lot of errors. And it was like, it was too many. And so Madge did a really good job of basically saying, listen, if your name's not Reece Walsh, you need to come out of the game with 0 errors because he's making errors for all of us, but he's also creating everything. And what I like about the Scotty Drinkwater one, I think you're thinking the same thing, is like you can be very fucking clear with everyone in that back line. You need to come out of this game with 0 errors because the only guy we want trying stuff or at least crazy stuff is Scotty Drinkwater. And I think it simplifies people's game plans so much because you go, you know what? That's easy. Like, for example, if you're Shibasaki, you're just going, I just need to make my tackles, be ready when Walshy needs me, and just fucking run hard as anything with the ball. And Scott Drinkwater's on that level. So I'd love to get your thoughts, Blakey, on that. Do you agree?
That was my advice for the Cowboys at the start of the year was, hey, Scott's the only one that's allowed to take any risk in this team. And I know it might sound unfair to some of you, but they also had the structures at the Cowboys to play that way. Like Purdue, Clifford, those guys are big bodies. So just play nice and tough. And Scott Drinkwater will take all the risk needed for all of us. So I think, I love that. I love that thought from you, Beacon. I think going to the Dragons, that's what they're going to need. I've also said about the Dragons this year, their best players have also been players that have tossed up some absolute rubbish. Like Luch Leilua is their best player every week, but he still comes up with 2 or 3 things where you go, come on, Luch, we've got to get that out of your game. Val Holmes is another one where he can move as well as he ever has, but he's coming up with. So they need, you know, and I'll bring up Cade Reed just briefly. Like the reason I didn't want him dropped in was because their star players didn't have any level of consistency in their game that would allow Cade to really thrive. And if you wanted to see any evidence of that, I know the sin bins were contentious, but their best player ran to the sin bin after 10 minutes. Dan Atkinson, their big off-season recruit, you know, their general, their number 7 or gone to the 6 now, he was in the sin bin for 10 minutes. So if you can't trust what your guys that are supposed to be reliable can do in a footy field, it's really hard to ask Cade Reed to do a lot on the back of that. So you're exactly right. At the Dragons, everyone else just needs to play footy, run the ball. Their best play that they can come up with would just be playing the footy. And if they can get Scott Drinkwater enough looks, we know what he's going to do. He's going to come up with some absolute brilliant. I love the way he plays footy. Prototype fullback, in my opinion. So they're going to have to get things right around him, but a big get for the Dragons.
Because like Wayne Bennett literally used to build his rosters like that. He would build his rosters where he had pretty much like a few players picked out where it's basically their job to get points. Like, so for example, Justin Hodges, he was one center, and it was like he's allowed to make an error or two because he's our strike center. Everyone else, when you get on the field, your job isn't to do what he does. Your job is to not make errors and make your tackles. And he used to balance his side like that. And there was pretty much like, it was like Lockie, Carmichael, and Hodjo in the back line where it was pretty much like, that's it. And then like me, Darius, and who was the other center at times? Or sorry, other winger. Whoever it was just like error count super low and just finish the tries. And I think, it's a real simple way of playing the game. Okay, that is us done and dusted. Blakey, thanks for joining us, mate. Hope we didn't keep you too long. Really do appreciate that you zooming in. And thanks for joining us, Tyson, as well, mate. Make sure to give Tyson a follow at Tyson the Terminator 69 on Instagram. And Blakey Austin on Instagram as well. Make sure to give a follow. But thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate it. We'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.